Hello and welcome back to English 300, the summer session. I'm going to go over something that you're going to be doing in the class so to kind of help you understand it a little bit better. As you know, when you log in, you're going to hit the announcements page, the very first thing that you'll see. And in the weekly folders section, you're going to see what the weekly work area, what this is, what's included here, and also you'll see the weekly folders. So in week one, you have the test run of the video. You will have to explore that on your own and do your test run of your video for the course. And then in week two, there's something a little bit different here. It's where you upload your rough draft. So I want to go over that really quickly, hopefully to clear up some confusion that may sort of rear its ugly head as we go. So this week, just as always, I have what students will do. Complete research writing journal, and there's a link for those. Research writing journals are over here on your left, with the links. And then the weekly readings. These are suggested readings, especially when they have the actual name in those. Critical reading and critique. Those are going to be extremely important to look through. It's a very good book. It's concise. This class assumes that you have some background in these areas that you're going to be working on, since this is a 300 level course. But these books were chosen very carefully to sort of put in the information that you might need throughout the course. And of course, the Bullock, Brody, and Weinberg was highly suggested. But the Behrens and Rawson, you're really going to need that this semester. So make sure that you have that book by now. In this folder, you're going to watch the video on peer review, which I'm actually doing now as we speak. So you'll see that video show up in this folder. And then also watch the video I'm posting to the discussion board if needed. So that actual video is located on the discussion board. And I may go ahead and add a link here, but that is only if you're not familiar with discussion boards. When you click a discussion board link that is in one of the weekly folders, you have to hit Create Thread in order to make it show up. All of the directions will be hidden until that point. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to show you what I mean. On this one, the research writing journal, those are just between me and you when you turn them in. I'm the one that sees those, and then the discussion board, though, are the ones that everyone can see. And this says part of the assignment requires that you post by Friday, June 17th. And what that is your rough draft of this paper. And all of the rough draft details will show up as well. But I want to go over the actual peer-reviewed document with you to make sure that you understand that. So when you click the link, it's going to take you to the discussion board, and it's going to show up like this. It's very blank, as you can see, but it does say peer review for paper 1, critique rough draft. When you hit create thread, something's going to happen. A lot of information is going to show up here, and I have it step by step. So if you email me something, a question, and it's very clear in here, I'm probably going to tell you to read the assignment thread. These are called threads. So just keep that in mind, that I expect, especially since you're in an online course, that you read these carefully. If you do need help, I'm always here to help. That's why I teach online courses in the classroom, because I love to help. So feel free to contact me, but make sure you read this before you do. If you notice this, it says post your full rough draft of paper 1, which will be the critique, and it is on the course schedule by the time you get to this part. And you'll see some links over here that you won't be able to see when you start the course, but for right now they're showing up. So just disregard these for now. Post your full rough draft of paper 1, and that will be by Friday at 11:59. And those are always the dates on the folder. So the peer review sheets that you're going to fill out on someone's paper is due by 11:59 on June 19th, which is Sunday. So this will be the 17th, and this will be the 19th, and that's to give people time to trade papers and have a look. And if you look at this assignment, it basically says you're going to upload your rough draft. You're going to send a message to someone who has not had someone already respond to them, saying that you're gonna do their paper, you're gonna review their paper. Then you're gonna download this sheet right here, the critique peer review sheet, and you're gonna fill it out fully based on another student's paper. So if you were sitting in the classroom, I might say trade papers with the person next to you, and then you would fill out an entire critique peer review sheet on that person. And then you would return the peer review sheet to them. It's just like a peer review in the classroom. Even though you're in an online course, you're expected to do the same components. So I have to make sure that I get those into the class. And they're not too complicated. So let's go ahead and download this so that I can kind of show you what this is going to look like for you. It's pretty simple, and it'll also help you write your paper. The way that I grade this is like this as well. So I'm going to enable editing. If yours shows up that way, you just hit enable editing and it will show you the whole thing. And I'll have to add an apostrophe there. There's a typo. So you caught me. Anyway, in here, the critique peer review, you're going to see directions on the components. And as you go up here, it says this peer-reviewed worksheet for discussion board number 2. You read the discussion board for the instructions. You will fill this out completely in full sentences. And that means if a question is a yes, you say yes, it is this, or yes, this is correct because, or something to that effect, so that you're writing full and complete sentences. Leave all of the questions that are asked on the paper so that I and the student knows which questions you've answered. It can be unclear at times. So the sheet also serves to provide information on what is expected in the paper. There's a checklist on page 2 that may also be helpful. So you've got here questions about whether or not the student who you're reviewing their paper has covered these items. So in A, you see the name of the author and the title of the material being critiqued. So the student has gone to a database, gotten a peer-reviewed journal article, and all those directions are in the assignment that you'll be doing. But for now, just know that that's what it's about. So say I'm the author, I've written this introduction on the article that I chose. So I told the author's name, the title of the article that I'm writing about. Is that author, are they suited to write it? So if they're writing about a medical issue, is it a medical doctor? Is it somebody who's done research in the medical field? What makes that author suited to write that information? And that's a brief overview of why or why not the author is or is not qualified to do that. And then the point that the author is trying to make, the author's thesis. So when you're critiquing the student's paper, you're looking at, did the student talk about this article's thesis? Did they talk about what it is? And then the writer's point, he or she is going to make about the author's point. So you're not just going to say, okay, the thesis of this paper is this. You're also going to talk about what you are actually going to talk about in the paper. So there are 2 different points here. The author who wrote the article, and then you are critiquing another student's paper, asking, did they tell what they're about to cover in the paper? That preview piece, and that's part D. And then, of course, as you go down, you're also going to see the summary. Did the student, let me be very clear here, did the student actually summarize the article that he or she chose? And does it seem objective? So in this part, you're not going to see any first person conversations. You're not going to see I thought or anything like that in this section. A summary is objective. It is in third person. It states the high points of the article, what it's about. So, and you want to look especially for things like repetition. Are there minor details that could be taken out that weren't as important? And some of this is subjective. So a reviewer might feel that something should be left out that the other student might feel is important. And that's something that I'll consider when I look at those. But your job is to let the other student know if there are some things that you think should be taken out. So all the main points covered and in order. This part's very important. You're going to read a peer-reviewed journal article yourself. You're going to go ahead and introduce it what's in the introduction. You're going to summarize it, and you're going to make sure when you're summarizing that you're doing it in the order that the information is given in the article. And then you want to make sure that the summary section of the document is free of quotations. No quotes, folks. So the summary section is in your own words and there are no quotes. The assessment portion is the part that most people skip. So make sure it's there. Does the writer discuss the validity and the logic of the points being made by the author, or comment on whether or not those points support the article's thesis? Remember, we're looking here at how the material is written, not at your personal opinions. And validity and logic is discussed in the book for the course, so have a look at that information. The response, does the writer discuss, and again, this is about the student and them discussing their article. So does the writer discuss what he or she thinks about the article? Are examples given from the article direct examples with the discussion backing up his or her opinion? So here you're looking at it, okay, it's okay to give an opinion, but why do you think that? Not just say you're reading an article on something like immunizations. You know, there's some debate over that. And you believe strongly that immunizations should not be given to children if their parents choose that they shouldn't, or vice versa. You believe that they should be mandatory and they should never have a choice. Well, regardless of the belief, if you're reading an article about that, you can have the response to it and base it in logic, but you also have to back up the opinions, your opinions, why you came to those opinions from the article. So, and that is the writer's chance to give an opinion. So keep that in mind, even if you don't agree with the other student on what they've come to respond. Does the writer wrap things up, perhaps by stating what could be done to improve the article or suggest further why the article is correct or incorrect? So you can conclude that based on the information given in the article that is the conclusion is incorrect, that it should have been something different. There could have been more research done, whatever it is, that conclusion has to be there. There has to be 5 sections in this listed, and they have to be in the order that you saw. So the introduction, so if you look up here, you've got your introduction, your summary, the assessment, the response, and the conclusion. And it's okay to use headings for that. Regardless of what format you're using in this class. Actually highly encourage it to make it easy in your final paper for me to find your information. So if you want to do that, that's fine. Make sure that your spacing is correct and all of that. And all of that's in the assignment. So as a peer reviewer, you have to make sure that it's in the order in which I asked for it. The format and style, has the person typed the paper in the format or style applicable to his or her field? Again, you're not looking at the one you chose, you're looking at the one the other student chose. And try to choose someone who's using the same format and style as you so that it makes it a little bit easier on making that judgment. Did the writer include citations as appropriate? So you have to be familiar with citations in that little book. The highly recommended book has some great information in it for format and style. So every single style in this course that people are using should be listed in there. So please feel free to reference that. It will be helpful. Flow and unity. Now this is subjective on the reviewer's part. You're looking at, does it read smoothly? Does it flow? And all of that. So please leave full comments on those. The checklist is really, I want you to go through and just check things off. This is what I'm going to use to have a look at your paper, and you can literally go through here, check it off, and make sure that student does or does not have the information. You can designate it however you want to. I would just put a check mark by the ones that are present and leave the others out. So I hope that this has been helpful. Also, this checklist is kind of nifty. It'll help you in your own paper as well as in your peer review. And I think the directions are pretty clear on this on the discussion board, but feel free to contact me if you have further questions. And I look forward to reading all of your assignments. Thanks and have a great day.